I presented a case study on cobalt mining in DR Congo. There, people use simple tools to unearth a toxic mineral, earning just enough to survive in conditions of extreme poverty. The study came with several questions, but I didn't ask you to answer them. Instead, I asked you to reflect on those questions without attempting to respond, so you could demonstrate how you think rather than what you think. I'll now go over these questions, aware there are no easy or purely correct answers, as we're constrained by power structures, by cultural norms, and by other realities. Let's begin with, are cobalt miners in DR Congo merely cogs in the global supply chain? Cog in this context probably means any individual whose role is narrowly defined within a larger system, contributing to a final product in ways that often go unnoticed. In that sense, yes, if observers from another planet examined the global smartphone industry from afar, they'd see different groups of people on different continents, each performing specialized tasks, yet somehow coordinating with one another. To these hypothetical observers, the entire chain might resemble an ant colony, with each person functioning as part of a vast machine. By that logic, Apple Store technicians are also cogs in the same machine. They just have more comfortable working conditions and they live in wealthier countries. There are no Apple stores in DR Congo to begin with, or in any of the 40 sub-Saharan African countries. This disparity reminds me of the Spanish film The Platform, where one's location within a ruthless system makes all the difference.
¿Usted sabe en qué consiste esto del hoyo? Obvio. Comer. ¿Qué vamos a comer? Lo que le sobra a los de arriba. Es asqueroso. ¿Es que mucha más gente abajo?
Si todo el mundo comiera solo lo que necesita, la comida llegaría al nivel más bajo.
But then, who is not a cog in the machine, if anyone at all? More precisely, can anyone really uncog themselves from the machine? Is it even possible for a Congolese cobalt miner or an Apple Store technician to just cease being part of the economic system? These are difficult questions. Besides, people don't necessarily gain more freedom as they rise up the ranks. High-ranking diplomats, for example, operate under strict protocols set by others and act in line with the foreign policy decided by others, even if they completely disagree with everything. Where's the freedom in that? If they uncog themselves from the diplomatic machinery, they become rogue agents. The same is true for doctors, lawyers, academics, pilots, and many other regulated professions. It's even true for politicians and CEOs, most of whom try to cut corners or cheat the system for personal gain. This isn't about fairness within the network. This is about the network itself. The network is unfair inside and out. It's unfair in DR Congo, and it's unfair in the corporate world. And paradoxically, more power doesn't necessarily mean more freedom or greater separation from the system. On the contrary, it often equates to more dependence on the system, not less. People operate within this system at all levels, striving to advance within it and collectively sustain it in the process. Perhaps it's always been this way. We can look back to the ancient Silk Road to see how commerce connected distant lands. Still, our modern economies of scale, population levels, and intricate supply chains have no historical precedent. The phrase, "the spice must flow" from the Dune series captures the relentless need to maintain the movement of critical goods. This uninterrupted flow isn't merely important, it's almost existential. In today's world, modern empires watch these flows closely, competing to control resources and supply lines. As Dune also notes, he who controls the spice controls the universe. But what can be done under these circumstances? Many conscientious individuals feel disturbed to learn that half of their chocolate or cobalt is tainted by unethical sourcing. They react in various ways, but what is an appropriate reaction? And does it even make sense to react from a safe position in the global north or from a privileged enclave in the global south, especially if you end up offering only lip service? Imagine an environmentalist in the global north whose carbon footprint is on par with, or even exceeds, that of those who remain silent. Or consider again the platform, where being on the top levels means others literally eat your leftovers, and those at the bottom starve. Condemning such a system might feel righteous, but it doesn't somehow justify your position, much less make you an enlightened activist whose stance is beyond reproach. It's like being a lighthouse keeper, shining a light on exploitation while remaining in a comfortable position physically and intellectually. You're not saying anything false or harmful, but you also aren't facing any real consequences, especially if you wisely stay out of certain sensitive issues. Worst of all might be adopting a morally superior stance that is unearned, ignoring the reality that, like everyone else, you too are part of the system you critique, while being one of its main beneficiaries. So what can a person do if they want to avoid being just another cog in the machine? Or if that's impossible, how can they at least reduce their entanglement and become less of a cog? I could bring up the platform once more, but Fight Club seems even more relevant at this point, especially given its depiction of a modern man's sorry efforts to find happiness and identity in an apartment filled with furniture ordered from an IKEA catalog, and then all hell breaks loose. I'll end with a few additional books and films that are indispensable in this context. Already mentioned are Dune, The Platform, and Fight Club. A meaningful follow-up to these three is probably Foundation by Isaac Asimov, or Brave New World by Huxley, and definitely Civilization and Its Discontents by Freud. You can then go in different directions. A Scanner Darkly is one way to go, as it delves into questions of personal identity perception and the often blurred boundaries between individual freedom and external control. The Extended Phenotype by Dawkins is certainly another, given its conceptualization of memes and why they matter. Even The Doors of Perception, also by Huxley. And I'll include a few more movies in the description. The Truman Show will certainly be there, as it challenges the authenticity of personal freedom and identity in manufactured environments.